let's resume recording. Okay, so where were we last week? Okay, so last week we have worked on a backend Express JS, right? And so the plan for today is I will finish this node to implement 2 more features of the backend API, and then we can fix some bugs in the document, and also create our React app. Okay, so but before we start, I want to make sure, I want to have a discussion about the architecture. Like, so we in our full stack application, or in your final project later on, you will have an Express application, which is the backend API, and you will have a React application, which is the front-end API. My first question for you guys is what is front end and what is back end? What is the meaning of separating things in front end side or back end side? More importantly, what is the core meaning of a back end and front end? Where this code, React code is running, where this Express code is running, how the thing connect to each other. Those are the question, very fundamental question to be clear about, because now we are going to have 2 kind of application. We're going to write the server side code and the client side code. Right? Okay, so we start with this course with HTML and CSS. Right? So let me ask you, what happened if I type google.com and hit enter? So what happened here when I type google.com and I hit enter and I see this website? Mark, can you give me an answer? Yes, we send a page request to what? Where do we send where the request is sent to?
Hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. A page request is sent to the.
Sorry, Mark. We can't hear you. Yes, correct, Mark. Great question, great answer. So the request will be sent to the Google server. Yes, and the Google server will respond with what? What is the response from the Google server? Yes, with the website, exactly, with the HTML, CSS, and some JavaScript maybe. And also depend on your location, right? You can see the language here that you can switch to, right? So when you hit enter here, this browser, right, will send this request to the Google server, and the Google server will respond with a bunch of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? And so now if I type cat here and hit enter, what happened? What happened after I type cat and hit enter? So the browser also, right, again, right, send another request to the Google server, right? And can you tell me what kind of request we are sending to Google after we type cat and hit enter? So there are no query requests, right? What is the exactly name of the request? Search? No. We have only get, post, or put, or patch. Yes, but why do we know that is a GET request? Why do we know? That's if I type cat here and hit enter, uh, why do you know that this is a GET request? Okay, we know that it's a GET request. One way is if you look into the form of this website, right? If you look into the form here, you can see this is a form, right? This is a form, and inside the form we have an input. This one is an input somewhere here, and the form, when people submit the form, it will send the data to search, right, to the URL search from the Google server, and the method is get, right? The method here is get, and the data submit with the name Q, right? So the name of the variable that contain the value cat here is called Q, right? So basically this form, after people get hit submit, it will send a GET request to the Google search, and the parameters, query parameters, gonna be Q equal something, right? If I hit cat here and look into this URL, right? Let's look into this URL. You can find Q equal cat here. So this is the query param of the Google. We are sending a GET request with the query param Q equal our search string to Google/search here. Okay, so and again, this google.com/search with the query Q equal cat will respond with some bunch of HTML and CSS. So so what you okay? So when you design, example, the developer from Google who designed this website, we call him a front-end developer. Right? He will work on the HTML, CSS to design how this website looks like, right? And when he designed it, when he developed it, he developed it with the mindset that his code will be run on our browser, will be run on Chrome or Mozilla or whatever browser you use to run the Google.com and search for something, right? And so that is the front end side. Sorry. So the front end side with the React stuff, or if you view it with HTML, CSS, is running on the browser of the user, right? Of the browser of the user. It's not running on your server. Right? What you design here, HTML, CSS stuff, all of them are sending to the browser of the user and run on the on that. So we call it the client side, right? So React here is the front end framework that help you to create the code to run on the client side, right? And that's why when you think about local storage, when you use the local storage in React, it's actually the local storage of the client side. So here, even Google use the local storage to store something here. Google.com, and they create a bunch of information here, which I don't know exactly what it is, but it's also serve their front-end application. Right? So if you open Google here, there are a bunch of stuff here. And if you, so my stuff may be different, my stuff here in local storage may be different than your stuff when you open google.com. Right? So that is very important to be clear that your code that you write with the React here is for the client side. It's running on the browser of the client. So that means it could be like unlimited number of user that's running your code here on their browser. Right? So the React code here, how many user open your website is the number of user is running the React application that you design. Okay, and last week we have learned Express, which is the running on the Node.js, right? And Express is the framework to build backend API, right? So it's to build the server side of the applications. So the server side, like the Google server, is running on a server somewhere, right? And is serving all of the user of the client side. Uh, Exactly, Mark. You just point out a very important point. So if the code of the React here is heavy, right? Example, if your website is really heavy, then it will take a lot of time to load, right? Example, if I have a very slow network here, right? And if I okay, so this I'm simulating I have a very slow network. But when I refresh Google here, you can see it's just, yeah, because it's maybe a very simple website, but the time I need to wait is is very short. But if I open something else, the VN Express website, so it seems like they have a ton of content here and it's loading very slow. Right? So this client-side code is much heavier than the google.com, right? And we need to wait very long for all of the content to be finished loading. Right? Uh, yeah, and so that's we always want to keep the code of the React here very clean, and we don't want to add a ton of dependency here into this one. And also we have a tool on the React side which is called Webpack. Webpack. Uh, Webpack. So this one is already included with the Create React app. Right? And this tool will help you to minimize the code of the React app here into a very small file. Like they eliminate all of the break line to combine the CSS and JavaScript and HTML into one file. That is a very clean example. So that the browser doesn't need a lot of time to load the front-end code. Yes. So first question from Mark. How about the animation? So the animation website. Okay. So if you use an animation library, they have some. So there are some strategy to get around that. Example, when I reload this one, you can see the text is showing first, but not the images. So this one is called lazy loading. The website will show some content first, right, with the text, because the text is very light and easy to load, right? And then the website will wait to slowly fulfill the images. So that will give user something, the feeling of give user like, if you just showing them a spinner here, it will feel bored and people will leave your website. But if you just preload some text here so that they can have something to read before waiting to the images, then it's fine. So there are some strategy to overcome that problem. Okay, look, question, is it true that the backend server output is only data, no functions? Okay, so I don't actually understand the no function means, but the backend server, yes, it just responds only data in our architecture. Right? In our architecture, we design a React app, and this React app need to have or to access to the database through the backend app. So the React app here doesn't contain any data. And that makes sense because if you think about this React application will be run on millions of user browser, then how can it store a static resource? How can it store the static resource? No way, right? So they need, or React app need a backend API that can store. Example, I have an image here. Right. So this is the server that store this image, and the React here will need to access to the server and request to this image to be shown on the website. So to keep things simple, we have the server here just is just serving the data, right? It just responds with the JSON data to the front end. And this architecture is also called microservice, because if you think about in a platform, we are not only have the website, right? We might have mobile application. We might have some like IoT service, IoT device that can also request the data from the server, right? So and with this Express application is maintain the data or maintain everything based on the route, based on they allow people to have some route here, example memes, right? And here inside this, they open the port for the React app to ask about the data to defined by this API. And depend on the request here, it could be get, it could be post. Express will pass this to a calling controller or a calling middleware to get the information and response to the front end. And this Express is going to run on a server. And this can serve many different kind of requests. It could be from the browser, it could be from a mobile application, it could be from an IoT device, something like that. So by separating the backend that store the data, separate it with the front end, which is just focusing on how to serve, how the UI, UX of the, how to serve the user, right? Make them feel comfortable, make them feel like easy to use your application, friendly, user friendly. And the backend here is focusing on how to serve the data and how to keep things clean so that you can serve many users. Okay, so that is briefly how the overview of the big picture of how the API and how the front end is living, how they works. So before I move on to a little bit more specific, we will try to draw a process of user open the homepage and see a list of memes. Right? How it's running in the React app and how it's connected to the Express and how the Express responds the data. Right? So we will have one example to simulate that process in the React side and the Express side. But before that, any questions, guys, about the big picture? So does it make sense to you so far? Let me run a poll. You guys are too shy. Does it make sense? Yes or no so far? Okay, so I have 100% yes with 60% response. 70% students response with yes. Okay, that's good enough to move on, right? Okay, so here in this example, I will draw the process. So in this time, I use draw.io. so you don't have to suffer my sketch. Okay, so this example is user open your website on the homepage, and they see a list of memes. Right? They see a list of memes. Like when they click on the gallery here, they will see a list of memes. Right? So sorry that the internet is quite slow. Yes. So what happened? What happened with this process, right? So when people, so here I use the homepage, but in our application is the gallery, right? It's the gallery. Okay, so what happened if user open the homepage, let's say that's a homepage in this example, and see the list of memes, right? Okay, the first thing is the router of the React will receive a request from the user to open the homepage, right? And it will pass that request to the homepage component, right? The homepage component in React handle the request to the router slash. So this is defined by the router, React router do of React, right? And in the homepage here, let me show you. Okay, so in our application is the gallery page, but in our example is the homepage. Right? Sorry, so a little bit confused. But in the homepage, we will dispatch an action memes request right away after the component did mount. Right? We use the use effect hooks to dispatch an actions to get the meme request when the homepage did mount. Okay, so and at that moment, our Redux store contains a memes which is an empty string, and the loading is false. Right? And when the homepage here dispatch the action get memes request. Right? Okay, so what happened? What happened here inside this get meme request? Homepage dispatch this action, and so in the code, meme request here, it will start with a dispatch get meme request, and then connect with the database. And if it's success, it's this dispatch get meme success, or otherwise it will dispatch get memes failure. And in the reducer here, get meme request basically just turn the loading to true. Right? Get meme success will merge the memes to the state memes, right? And get meme failure just turn the loading into false. Okay, so come back to our diagram here. In the get meme request here, so the first thing here is dispatch the request action. Right? And when we dispatch the request action here, based on the reducer, right, it will turn the loading here to true. Just do one thing, just turn the loading here to true when you dispatch with the request. Right? And after you dispatch the request, you send an API.get to the API memes, right? Like this, right? After dispatch the request to turn the loading here to true, it called the API to get them to send a fetch to API memes, get request to API memes. Right? And here is when the server right, send the request to API memes. So let me pull it down. So this is the get request. Get request to API memes. And the API memes here is handled by our router. Right? It will look into, okay, the request start with API, right? Start with API. Right? So let's send it to index router. Index router. Okay, so inside index router here, it look into the API, okay, followed by memes, right? So let's send it to memes browse, meme browse. Okay, and then memes browse is from the meme API. Let's open meme browse. So in meme browse, okay, get request to memes API memes. Let's pass this to meme controller get memes. Right? So basically, this is just a function, right? And the name controller here is come from the architecture called MVC, model controller view. Right? We will talk about it later on, but basically, it's just a function that's handle the get request. Right? And in meme controller, we have the function called get memes. And this function does something to like start with get the query for pagination, read the raw data, calculate the data that it needs to respond, and then response 200 with the data. So this is the meme controller that's handle the request. So here you can think about this is handled uh, by the meme controller, right? To, and then this one will respond, right? Response to the full name. This one will respond here. Oops. And then if that is response successfully, we will dispatch success. Okay. Yes, question from Mark. With the actions, why do you import all the actions to the index.js from the action.js and not directly from each action.js? This is just a convention. Like it's actually this is my style to have that. So here I have action. Oh, sorry. Yeah. See, so here I have an index that's export everything in actions, so that later on when I import it, I can just call redux action and pass my action here inside this curly brace. You can do directly like redux action / meme action here. It's fine. It's not a right or wrong. Right? You can do both based on what you like. But this is my style to like keep things simple. Or if I don't remember exactly the name, it will show me an error here. Okay, so after we have the response from the server, right, to here, we dispatch a success. And when we dispatch success, our state will contain, will have some data from the payload, and the loading here will be turned to false. And then because in the home page, it's listened to the state here, and it will stop the spin, the loading spinner and show the mean. Okay, so this is one more example. It's one example of how things is working in the React application, connect to the Express API and respond from the Express API and update the state of the application, React application, and then the data will be automatically shown on the homepage. So, so the way you code is a little bit counterintuitive. It's like you are designing a system that can react based on the user action. Is we are designing some like the subscriber, sorry, or the listener. So all of the thing we design here is listen to the event that's happened by or um, happened by the interaction of the user with your website. Simple like when they open the homepage. So what do we do when user open the homepage? We dispatch an action to get the meme request, and get meme request will dispatch request to turn the loading to false, connect with the backend server, waiting for the response. And if we have the response, then dispatch success to update the data, and then it will be shown on the homepage. Right. Yeah, this is a simple diagram, but it describes like almost everything that's happening in your application from front end to back end. Does it make more sense now? Okay. Sorry, let me run one more poll. Make sure you can move on. Does it make sense? Yes, if it makes sense to you. Okay, I still have 4 people. 4 people. They are not here or okay. We have the TA. Those are the TA. Okay. So let's move on, guys, with the where's my postman? So here. So last week we have implemented some features, and we are at the step 5, right, to get the original image and get the original image and get the list of the get meme controller. Did we implement this one? I think we did, right? In our meme generator, we have get all memes not found, create a meme, or update meme not yet, right? Okay. So let's implement task 5 to finish our Express application. So task 5 to create get original images. Here we start with the router. Let me bring this down. So when we start a new feature in the backend, we need to start at the router first to define the routers, and then define the controller that handle that routes. We might add some middleware here in between, between the route and the controller here. We could have some middlewares here, but basically we always start with the route first to define what kind of browse is handled that request. And here let's put it in the in the meme API. So here it will handle the get request to API/meme/images. And it will be handled by the function called get original images in the meme controller. Let's set it and come to the meme controller. We have this function. And here in this function, we get the query params from the URL. And we read the JSON file to get all of the memes. We get the list of original image path in the list of memes. We get rid of the duplication in this list. And then we calculate the param for pagination and return the page of the original image, the according number of original image on this page with the per page number here. And then we return original images with the total page. So let me save it and run the server. And now I can open Postman, and I can add a new request, get original images. Let's save it and click on this one. Now I can send a GET request to URL, which is my backend API, API/memes/images. And here we can test it with page 1 per page 2 and click send. So here we have a list of two images. The total page number is 7 because we define per page is 2. If we put per page is 4 here, hit enter, we will see 4 images. So this one is from my my old code. Right? In my old code, we didn't get rid of the first part of the image, and we only have three images here is from the updated code. So so when I code this application, I usually need to remove everything here to restart the data with the new conventions, and I also need to remove everything in the meme JSON here just to make sure that I don't have some wrong data. The data does follow the old conventions. Okay, we can test this later on, but let's move on. So that's this for the task 5 to get the original images. In the next step here, we want to have a feature that user can update. User can update a memes, can update the text on the memes. And the idea is we need to send the text to API/meme/ID, which ID here is the ID of the memes. And because in the data of the memes, we always have the original image. So the idea is we will get the original image and put the new text on it and save the memes to replace the old memes. So here in this function, update memes, first of all, we need to get the meme ID. We need to read the data from the meme JSON and get the index of the memes that we want to modify with the find index function array methods here to find the index. If we cannot find it, that means the index will be -1. Then we return an error message that's the meme not found. So that means this ID is not correct. If we can find the meme in the list of memes, we will access to that meme, and we will get the text from the bodies and convert it into an array if it's not an array. And then we will call our helper function to put text on the image, right, with the new text and the original image of the meme. And then override it with the old output meme path. Right? So we store only the path to the meme in our server folder. Right? So we basically, this function just take the text and put it on the original image and override and save it as the output mean path. We haven't changed the output mean path here, right? So that means it will override the old image. After that, we update the data in the mean JSON and return 200 back to the front. Okay, so let's start with define the route. Define the route in the meme API. Meme API here. Let's copy this one here. So we will handle the put request to API memes ID. The description here is update the text on the meme. And here the function we need to define the router.put to handle the put request, right? To the route with the param ID, and it will be handled by the meme controller dot let's call it update meme. Update meme. We have an error because we haven't defined this function in the controller. So now let's come to the controller. Update meme. Get meme. Let's put it here right after the create meme function. So here we copy the function update meme. Copy it, put it here, and save it. So the server work now. So we have the update meme, etc. And okay, so now let's come to Postman to test our function. I have created update meme here, right? So here in the update memes, let's pick one example. So let's update this meme. And this meme has the ID with the E5DD. E5DD. Let's come to the meme JSON here. Okay, and find our memes. Our memes start with E5DD here. Oh, is it this one? This one is still use the old. This one still use the old conventions. So let me pick this one, right? 9C, 9C. Where is that? Oh, it still use the old convention. Okay, so let me pick this one. Okay, A6, the first one here, A6, this one, okay, A6523, A6523. So let me get the meme ID here and put it here. So we're going to update this meme by sending a pull request to the API memes, this one. Okay, and the thing to notice here is we are sending the JSON data to the API. So first thing here, we need to change the header here to content type application JSON, and in the body choose raw, which is this one raw, and paste the text here. So this update request is slightly different. We are not sending the form data to the server. We are sending JSON data to the server. So if you want to send JSON data to the server, you define it. You put the JSON data here in the raw of the body and change the header to content type application JSON. So here we're going to update. This. This is an example. Like, let's change this to the first text. The first text is going to be on top of the image, and let's say hi. And the second text is also 64, and it's going to be in the bottom of the image. And let's say I'm Yura. Okay, so let's click send, and Okay, so we have an error here. Cannot read property size of undefined. Okay, undefined here. Okay, so come here. How can we fix this error? It's gonna be it's gonna be uh, in our controller. Right? This must be in our controller. Update meme. Right? And here in update memes, something wrong happened with our text. So here, this is the error, right? We are going to get text from request body.text, which is wrong, right? It should be text from request.body, right? So a trap, or anyone just copy and paste. Okay, and click send again. So now we have a success response. Success is true. And we have the data of the meme that has been updated. So A6, we start with the ID A656 here. And let's come to the, here you can see the color here changed by Git, right? It's recognized that this file has been modified. And if I click on it, hi, I'm Yura. So the text is now updated, right? So the text is now updated on the image. So our function works fine with this mistake, right? And this bug, we fix this. So yeah, so usually if I don't know this bug, I might have to console log this text many times in this code to control the data, to double check the data whether it's correct or not. I might even have to test the list of memes here, and also the, yeah. So basically, if you understand, basically our program is a flow of data. So to debug, we need to double check the data whether it's correct or not in our flow. Right? So we will need to put some console log here and there to control, to see whether the front end, whether the back end receives the correct data, whether everything is correctly set up. Yeah, 2 hours to find that bug. That's fine. uh, yeah, sometimes I one time even when I build this application, right? One time I have a bug that I need 4 hour 4 hour to define to find that bug. Okay, I can tell you. So the bug is the bugs that I need like 5 hours to fix is I put next here. So I put next here, and it's cost me 5 hours. This is a good story to tell you, right? So remember the photo helper dot resize is our middleware, right? Our middleware here. So when people upload an image, we save it in our folder, public folder, and then we resize the photo to 400, right? And then we follow by the create meme, right? And the problem is when I put next here, all of the code here is creating is resizing the image, right? It's resizing the image, and when the Express JavaScript running, it will run this code, but also immediately run this code. Right? So it will, first of all, it will run next to jump to the meme controller, to create a meme, right? To create a meme here. And then after a few milliseconds, this code finish running and also run next. That means it will run the meme control here twice in different timestamp. And I got an error that some very weird error happened that it tried to respond twice back to the front end. But I haven't recognized this for the first time, and just after 5 hours working on this code, I haven't seen any error here. But then slowly I recognize that the server tried to respond twice, right? And then I have to come back to the flow from the meme API here. I remove the middleware here, and it's worked. And that's how I can determine, okay, so there must be something wrong in the middleware here. And then I put the uploader here and remove the resize. It works. And I put the resize back, the bug occur again, right? And that's why, okay, I know that, okay, there are nothing wrong with my controller. There are nothing wrong here, but it's wrong in the resize function. And after a few minutes, I recognize that I'm sending two next to the next middleware, and yeah, that was the 5 hour to fix, like to remove online the code. Yeah, and it's totally normal if you struggle with debugging. But when you debug, it's a good time for reviewing. When you debug, you need to imagine again the flow of the data and check. So debugging is actually a learning process. Okay, so that was the Express applications. Okay, any questions? Correct, yes. So JavaScript is, you can see it's a asynchronous function. Um, if you send to next, so next error will be handled by the error handling. But next it just move to the next step in the flow of the middleware of Express. So my mistake was at this moment, at this middleware, I'm sending I'm calling two next function to the router here. Right? And the router here try to respond to the front end because the code in the router here is correct. It will send the response, and then after that, the second next coming, and it will try to send the response again, which is wrong, right? And raise the bug. Okay, any other bugs or question you have from the backend side? Line 11, you mean this line? Yes, this is correct. So this line still happen is will still wait for this to finish before moving to this. Yeah, the problem is I have next here. I had one next here. So so when it's run this, when it's run this one, it's a if condition, right? So it will jump to this code if this is true, but it will run this line, whatever, right? It's always run this line. It's not inside the if. I put it here after the if. So it will jump into here, but also run this. And because this code is just try to resize the image, it doesn't affect the next step. Right. So the controller is still running like at the same time when this code try to resize the image. And after this code finish resizing the image, it's called next again and run the create memes again, and try to respond twice, 2 times back to the front end. So here is when I combine the code, you can see this line is always be executed, right? Because it's outside the if. Even this is true or false, this one will always be called. And inside this if here, I have one more next. Does this answer your question? Line, this one. We don't need this, right? I'm not sure about that. If I remove this, does it automatically next to the meme controller? Maybe this is not necessary, but this is more like explicitly for me. Not really, not really. If I remove this one and put next here, then this code will run at the, I mean, it will not send next, but in the function here, right? I call put text on the image, which also access to the original image path, and if it's still not resized, then I could have some problem that there are two processes are trying to access to the same file. Yeah, my mistake to have the line 10D here. So if I remove it, then it will work. Okay, so just a short story. How some bug that it took me like 4 hours. Okay, we still want to discuss this. You think that it will run the try block, run the next in line 17, skip the rest of the function and run memes controller? No. Because we are having a wait here, those lines will run synchronously. It will read the file, and after that it will resize the file, and after that call next. Because we are putting a wait here. Okay, so let's start our front-end application. Front-end application, and okay, I will finish task one, and then let's have a lunch break. Okay? Let's set up our front-end project and set up the router here, and you can have a lunch break. So let's come to the controller. So now we have a Express application inside the folder called server here. So we need to create a React app for the client. Right? So here we call npx create React app. We call it client because we have server side, so now we are working on the client side. So it will set up a little bit. And let me create a new GitHub repo for this one so that we can okay, new repo. And this one I should call it full-time rep with 7 meme generator full name. Okay, it should be called demo of the weekly project 7 meme full name. Public. Okay, send this to Discord, and we are done here. Not yet. Okay, so after create React app, we go to the client folder. Okay, so now let's connect it with our GitHub. Okay. Cool. So we set up our local with the GitHub repo. Cool. So next is installing some dependency we needed for this application. We will use Redux, React Redux, Redux Tongue as usual, the React router, Bootstrap. So this is some phone awesome icon. I only use 2 of them, but just want to show you how to put a phone awesome icon in your application. We use React Markdown, Spinner, Moment, React Moment, Axios to connect to the server, and EUID for our alert messages or generate the ID. So can you tell me where are you, which task are you working on of the front end app? Okay, so we have the client. Let's open VS Code. Okay, so next is we remove something we don't need here. The logo, the index CSS. Also, we remove the import from here. We remove the import from here. In the app CSS, remove everything. And okay, let's skip the icon for now. And we import Bootstrap. Import Bootstrap, save it. Okay, alert task is fine. Okay, okay, so let's come to public item HTML. Change the title of the app to meme generator. Save it. Good. For the project structure, we have the same project structure with the previous wiki project, which is the social block. Right? I just follow the same concept. Um, okay, so here to build this one, we need to create some folder in the source folder here. And usually you might use the VS Code here, but one way that I also prefer is to use the command line here to create the folder here. Example, I can do make dir source, and I can create the components. Also, I can create the containers. Then I can create images. I can create Redux. So inside Redux, I can create actions. Inside Redux, I also can create a constants. And then the reducer. Right. Yeah, basically that's it. It's much faster than you hover the mouse and create things here. You can also create a empty file. Example, I can create inside the component the not found page.js. I can create inside container homepage.js, and also in the Redux, in Redux, I can create the API.js and store.js to configure the store. Okay, and there are a bunch of file and folder has been created here. Quickly with your, this is much way faster than you creating with the VS Code UI. Right? Okay, for the home page, I can do RFACE and then put a title here, which is the home page. Save it. And in the not found page here, let's copy this one. Basically, it's just showing the 404 page. Okay, I need to create one more folder. It's the in the container. It's called routers. Routers, and then I need to create the index.js empty file in routers. Yeah, index routers. Okay, so in routers, I just view a switch here to the slash for the home page and everything else to the not found page. And after that, in the app.js here, I will remove everything and put my routers here. Okay, and after that, I can do npm start and open the localhost 3000 and the server is still starting. Homepage, right? You can see homepage, right? And now if I put anything else, I see the 404 page. Yeah, so you can see if you're already familiar with the project structure and the way to set up, it's only costs you like 5 minutes to finish set up your project. And you will have a lot of time to work on the logic. Right. Okay, so let's create another terminal here to commit the code. Git commit -n setup project and git push. So you can pull the code in the GitHub now to get to this point. Okay, so I hope you don't have any problem so far to this point. To set up the building the UI here is basically copy and paste. Okay, so let me finish this one before the lunch break. Okay, so first we set up the CSS for the app.js. We open app.css, paste the CSS code here. So to add the phone awesome icon into your code, you can follow this documentation. But here is the way, right? You import library from the phone awesome SVG core, and what kind of icon you use, you import it here, and you put it in the library.add. Save it. So we need a new page called gallery page in the container. Container new file gallery.js, gallery page.js. So here again, let's create an empty component with the h1 gallery page. Okay, and we need a navbar for our application. Inside container, new file, let's call it navbar headers.js. And here we have our navbar, which is using a phone awesome icon to the create meme. And create meme here basically is the home page. And gallery is a list of memes in our application. So navbar with 2 links only. For the side menu, we have a form to input the text that you want to put on the homepage, to put on the memes, sorry. So we have a new file here in the container, new file, we call it side menu.js. Copy the code here. I will explain it later on, but let's set it up to see the UI works. So now in the routes.js, route.js here, we're going to modify it a little bit. So let's first of all wrap it with a React fragment here. And let's design our layout. Right? So our application will start with the navbar as the header, navbar header here. It doesn't import for me. Auto import. Right? So navbar header at the top. And then we will have a container from React Bootstrap, and this will take all of the place on the screen. And we wrap everything else inside the container. And inside the container, inside or below the navbar, inside the container, we have the side menu here. Side menu, which will be one part of the screen, and the other part is will take 9/12 space of the screen. Like this. We might need to import the column here from the React Bootstrap side menu. Okay. Yeah. For the pagination is a inside components, which is the stateless component. It contain no logic. Right? So here we create pagination dot for the meme JS. And if you recognize this one is just the code from the GitHub issue that we can reuse. So stateless component can be reused in different applications. And if you have time and interested in like you can view a list of stateless components that you can reuse in different applications. So, and some people put it in a library and they call it an UI stack, like core UI, and then you can sell it as a team for many different applications. So for the meme list of memes, we have meme list.js here. Also a stateless component that generate a lot of card of the meme, and the card is basically a simple React Bootstrap card that contain only one image, and the links to the image is for now is an default image. We haven't put any data here, right? We just want to set up the UI. And inside the gallery page, we want to show the list of image. We want to show the list of image. And because we don't have data for now, we just put a empty, like a fake data with some ID inside the memes here that we can pass to the meme list to generate a bunch of memes for us to see how the UI look like. On the home page, home page here, we have just a button to input a file feature so that user can upload a file. And this input is wrapped in a label so that it can cover the UI of the input here by showing, so user can only show, can only see a text. And and if they click on the text, it will trigger the input box to open the browser so that user can access to upload the file. So this is just a small trick. So we need to import container from React Bootstrap, right? And okay, last thing is some CSS to the app.css. Save it. And now open our home page. You can see the UI has been set up. Still some problem with this one, but in the gallery, it means gallery. Mm, I think we missed the route part. Did we set up routes for that? We forgot the routes for the gallery. We forgot this one inside the route. Yes, we have only a route for the homepage, but not for the gallery. You also need to import this in the route. Save it. Restart. Okay, so the gallery is here. There are still some problems with the UI, so that the content is not inside here. But in the create memes, we have a text here that click on this, it can open the browser to upload the file. Gallery, we have the gallery here. We have the text form to modify the text in the side menu, but this one is not correct. So let me restart the application first to make sure it's get the most recent code. And I guess we have some problem with the CSS here. Yes, so we have some problem here with the CSS code. Sidebar. Okay. Let me check the browse. Oh, okay. Maybe because we forgot this row. Right? We are using column here, and we should put it in between the row here. Import row too. Okay. So now it's work. Right? Create memes, upload image, or gallery list of image. So one mistake at the routes I forgot to put the row inside the container. Okay, so that is the UI, and finishing the UI here also we finished like design the idea of our application. We want to have a gallery that will send the request to the server to get the list of memes, and we have a the home page is to upload an image and start putting some text on the image. We can choose the color for the text. We can choose the font size or the vertical alignment or horizontal alignment. And all of the modification here, we wrap it in in an object. So basically, all of the modification is an object that contains size, color, alignment, X, alignment, Y, um, and we have all of those functions in the backend already. Right? So in the front end side now, we want to think about how to put the data here in the correct form, and then send it with the correct request to the server. That's the most important thing. If we can simulate with the React exactly what we did test with the Postman, then everything will work. So all of those objects get added to the data of the image. So all of the data that you modify here will be added in the request. It depends, right? It depends on the request you are sending to the data of the image, to the data of the meme, actually. So this is how the data of a meme look like. For one meme, we have the ID of the meme, the path to the original image, and the path to the meme, and then the data of the text on the meme, the content, the color, the size, etc. Yeah, all the object is the data of the text is inside the memes. We put it in the memes. Okay, so have you done to this point, guys? It's okay if you say no. Right? It's okay if in the weekend you're just focusing on the backend. It's fine. Remember the deadline for the weekly project is extend to this Friday. So today we will try to walk through the React front end, but you don't have to submit anything today. Right? I just want to know who need to working on the React now. Okay. Seems like we have one guy. Good. It's fine. So let me submit the code here. Git add git commit dash n setup UI. And let's have a nice lunch and come back here at 1:30. So the main goal for today is walk through this React app, and and then you guys can work on that to finish until task 10 here. And then in the week, you can work on the task 11, 12, 13 here, or just try to understand everything in this note is also fine. Okay, any other questions so far? Until step one, task one here, task two, building the UI here. Cool. Okay, so let's have a good lunch, guys, and see you at 1:30. Okay. Thank everyone for listening, and see you then. Bye bye. I will upload the recording now.